Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your January 2022 reading. So, we're going to start looking at the cards and we'll talk about the astrology as we go along. I will say that this is a time of reflection, or the themes that are going to be really strong for you are a lot of second house themes. So, your career and money and your environment and your self-worth. And with Venus retrograde in that area of your life, you're really having to look at how each of those things affect, right? It's the relationship that you have with all of that, with Venus retrograde there. So, and in true form, so many of the signs are getting the World card. So many of the signs are in their readings. And it's very interesting because we've all sort of just been through so much BS for so long that we're like over it. We're done with it. And as we're all going into 2022, we have this new energy. There's a lot of people that were even wanted to trust a lot of the things that were being said on social media, and even they are now recognizing not everybody is going to be keen to it, but you guys for sure, you know what your truth is. You understand what it is. And so there are these ending of cycles because there's no more fucks to give, basically, in certain areas of your life. And these retrogrades that are happening, so we'll have Venus retrograde and Mercury will retrograde in Capricorn, which is in your second, or Mercury will retrograde in Aquarius and go regress to Capricorn and then direct in Capricorn. So with all of these retrogrades, there's this reassessment of this area of your life. And if things aren't looking the way that you want them to look, now's the time for you to start shifting that energy. So the first card that came out was the Queen of Pentacles, and then the World, and the Nine of Pentacles, and the Emperor, Page of Swords, and let's get, looks like a couple more. Six of Wands, nice, and the King of Cups. So there's also this nurturing energy, or like patience. As you're coming into January, it's almost like the energy that you're coming into is in the Queen of Pentacles. Now, you could either have Earth in your chart, or you could be also dealing with somebody who is an Earth sign, but there's also this water sign down here too. And it's very interesting because it feels like what this cycle is doing is it's ending a time where you felt like, with this Nine of Pentacles and the Emperor, like you were doing everything by yourself. Or that there's, how do I want to put this? The Nine of Pentacles is about being abundant and independent all on your own. Like, you've got this. You can do things on your own. That's great. But there's this desire now to end a cycle where it's like that ultra independence and you're moving it away. When we're really ultra independent, it's kind of a trauma response. When we're like, I don't need help from anybody. I don't need to blah, blah, blah. I can do this on my own. I don't need anybody telling me what to do. Like, all of that stuff, that's an ultra independent kind of attitude. And I used to really be in that as well. And that's what happens when you have to grow up early, when you have to be a tiny adult. instead of being a kid and, enjoying life. That's what happened. So there's this end to needing to be just independent for the sake of being independent. And that now allowing yourself, and I feel like the King of Cups is a softening that happens, because you get honest with yourself about it, right? It's about the self-worth. And it's funny, so many times we want to say things like, I've even been guilty of saying stuff like, it's better to be on your own than with another person, and all of that stuff. But I found that all of those things that I would say about being the independent person and taking care of yourself, and you don't need another person to love you, to make you happy in life, and da 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 da, and whatever. And while some of that is true, you don't need another person to make you happy in life, but it's nice to have somebody around that makes you happy. Like, why can't we just admit that it's okay to want that in your life? And so eventually I got to a certain point where I was like, I'm going to own it. I'm going to own the fact that I have this feeling inside of me that there's somebody out there that I'm supposed to be with. And that's when things started to change. And I feel like you're in this point now where you've recognized that whole independent act is kind of getting a little bit tired, and that's when things start to open up, and that's when the celebration begins, and that's when you can really be excited. And it is sort of a softening, if you will. But I think that it also might be because you recognize who you truly want, the kind of person that you actually want to have in your life, and it's different than who it used to be. And that's a celebration in itself. Because, wow, like, I can think back to relationships that I've been in and ask myself, what the hell was I thinking about being with that person? And I'm sure that the person, whoever I was during that time, in that moment when I decided to be in a relationship with this dude, I needed some lesson from that person. I'm sure that there was a reason, but being the healed, logical person that I am today, it's very hard for me to, like, explain some of that crap that I did. So there, everybody kind of goes through that. We're like, wow, I'm really like such a softer person. I'm such a more open-minded and aware person that it's completely a different individual that I want to have in my life. The Cancer full moon is going to be happening in your 8th house. So releasing all of those past relationships that wounded you at the core. It's going to be a very emotional time. I don't know a full moon in Cancer that wasn't an emotional time. That'll be the 17th of January, and then we have the North Node moving into Taurus, and that'll be in your 6th house. So really getting in touch with who you are is going to be a theme for you. That 6th house focus until 2023 is going to, be focused on your daily routine and how you're taking care of yourself and what your health is going to look like. And part of that is mental. And when we're being ultra independent and we're telling other people, no, I don't need help, and we're not being vulnerable and soft because we don't trust anybody. I mean, why don't we trust anybody? Because you don't trust yourself, even, to make decisions, to do things, because you think that every time you make a decision, it's the wrong one. Up until now, maybe that's what it feels like. But if you start looking at all of those decisions in different ways, how they brought you lessons, it can look a whole lot different. And I feel there's a cycle that's ending for you when it comes to needing to control what that independence looks like, or needing to control what that, who you're connecting with and creating with. But I want you to be honest with yourself with that, because I feel like January, towards the end of it, is going to be more of a celebratory time and a softened time. And So the retrogrades, they end at the very end of January, and the first week in February, Mercury goes direct. So just time to reassess where we've all been. In the extended, we will do more astrology. We'll get into deeper astrology, and then I'll clarify this. I do have a few spots, a handful of spots open for any of the 2022 readings. I have the January through June tarot, and then I have the January through April astrology ones. All of that information is in the description box. Love you guys. See you in the extended. Bye.